Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Hunt. I'm Heath. Today we're going to talk about um, so you think you want to go hunting. This is kind of a beginner's guide to somebody that wants to hunt for the first time. Um, for me, it was pretty easy. My dad was an avid hunter, so that's how I got into hunting. But if it's I just want to make this clear to everyone: hunting is not for everybody. The easiest and simple thing to do if you think you want to go hunting is tag along with someone. If you got friends that hunt, go ahead and if they go out and scout the timber, go out and scout with them. Baby steps, do that first, and then work your way up to it until it's time to actually go sit out through a season. And I want to say this that if you think you want to hunt, you need to be okay with taking a life. I mean, you see wildlife out there and you think, oh, hey, it's cute and innocent, but you got to be okay with, you know, you're going to take the life of that animal. So some people think hunting's all fun and game, but once you take an animal's life, that's it might have a different effect on you. So, but you go with go with someone, and they when they take an animal, that's sometimes it's not easy and pretty like the some of the hunting shows show. Sometimes you can get a bad shot off, and or um, you hit in a bad spot, and you either have to track the animal for a long time, or you just wound it and you got to find it and put another one in it. It's happened to me. I've these animals are quick, and you got to it's all about proper placement of on your kill shot. So just right off the bat, and sometimes when they go down, it's not just right away. It might take them a couple minutes. So you gotta be okay with that. If you're not okay with that, then you know then maybe hunting isn't for you. So that's the very first thing. Um, Sorry if you see me looking off to the side a lot. I got notes wrote down here. Second thing is after once you're okay with that, take a hunter safety course. I don't care how old you are. I know here in Nebraska the cutoff I think is 29. If you're older than 29, you don't have to take a hunter safety course. I don't I don't care. Take a hunter safety course. There's a wealth of information in there, and of course every state I'm sure every state is probably about 99% along the same lines, but there might be a few fine tuning things there. Every state will be a little bit different on their gaming laws, but take your state hunter safety course. I just recently took my bow hunter safety course. I'm 35 years old, so I don't care. Take a hunter safety course. It's yeah. Um, there's a just tons of stuff in there. Get certified, and I'm not going to get into specifics in it, but I mean they talk about everything. Um, Distance from a house you're supposed to be away. Safety practices. Um, what to watch for. I'm not going to get into specifics, but go ahead and take a hunter safety course. Um, they're I don't care how old you are. I still think they should recommend it for ages on up. Um, So after you take your hunter safety course, unless you have the hookups on private ground, you're probably hunting public ground to begin with. I'm kind of blessed that I have family-owned ground or ground of landlords that allow me to hunt on their stuff. And if that's the case, and if you do have, the hookups for private ground, rule number one is permission. You got to have permission. And even me, even if since it's family owned ground, I actually get write up every year a written permission slip and have the location, the plat location off a plat map and everything wrote on it, and either for the specific season or in my case I do it for the whole year. But and then I have my uncle that owns the ground I hunt on sign it and date it, and then so that way if a game warden comes around, or if you're having problems with trespassers and either the sheriff or game warden gets called, you can whip this out, because anybody can say, oh no, I have permission here, when they actually don't. But if you have written permission slip then they can call the landowner and verify. You're less apt to get in trouble if you have something like that. So yeah, do that. And of course, if you're hunting public ground, that's not going to be possible. Here's what you got to remember about hunting public ground is that everybody's going to be out there. I'm sure there'll be a time where I'm going to have to hunt public ground, especially this fall. I'm thinking about going mule deer hunting. I don't know anybody out in western Nebraska, so it's probably going to be me hunting public ground out there. And the first things first is be absolutely 100% aware of all your surroundings. You don't know what's out there. I can tell you some horror stories here. This 2019, I read an article about a father and a daughter, and I don't know the whole 100% the situation, but they're from North Carolina, and a father and daughter were out hunting. They're walking through a timber, and a guy that they didn't know was sitting in a thicket, and all he heard was noise, and he started shooting, and he took the life of the father and the daughter. Another situation was, and this spring, was a gentleman was hunting public ground, and he was carrying his turkey decoy in his arm, I suppose just under his shoulder. I'll have to try to find a picture of it. It's kind of graphic, but he was carrying it, and a guy walking the edge of the field with his crossbow, all he saw was a turkey, and he pointed and shot the gentleman through his arm. Not good. It's just, you have to be 100% aware of everything in public ground, and you do with private ground too, but at least with private ground, you can feel a little bit more at ease about you being the only one in there, and if there's anyone that's not supposed to be in there, they're trespassing. So, but here's another thing about public ground. You can set up a stand and you can set up game cams, but don't get upset if you see other people walking through your area on your game cam, and there's not a thing you can do about it because it's public. I've seen several situations where people post on Facebook, hey, have you seen this person? He's encroaching on the area I hunt. Well, dude, you're hunting public ground, so it's free game. He can he can't sit in your stand, but he can walk through your area, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, and also if you are hunting public ground, make sure you tag your stand and tag any kind of equipment you have out there. So that way, if it gets stolen, you can at least, when you turn in a police report or with the game warden or sheriff, they can at least look for a tag. But the chances are you probably won't get it back. But at least do that, and you should on private ground too. Tag your stuff. I do mine, but that's the gist of that. Just public ground, private ground, be 100% aware of your surroundings. So, and with public ground and private ground, get out there as much as you can. Check out the trails. Check out, check for rubs, or if you're pheasant hunting, check out, habitat where you think birds might be. This is probably more going to pertain to deer hunting or large games. Birds, it depends on the area. Here in eastern Nebraska, you don't see a lot of pheasant. You do turkey. But usually when you're out deer hunting, you're going to see turkey anyway, so you'll get the feel for that. So just know your surroundings, be aware, anybody can be around the corner. Just be safe that way. So we'll talk gear and ammunition and firearms, weaponry in another video, but the biggest thing I want to, and of course remember everything, the majority of the stuff I'm going to preach in my videos is going to be what's worked for me. Everybody's going to be different, but when it comes to like my camouflage and my gear and stuff like that, my stuff's all inexpensive. It's not high dollar name brand clothing. Deer, first off, if you're hunting deer are colorblind. They don't care. During firearm season, you're supposed to wear a certain percentage of blaze orange anyway, so they don't care. The only time camouflage really works, you could sit out in the stand in blue jeans and a flannel jacket. That's what they used to do back in the 50, 60 years ago. That's what they wore, was just stuff to keep them warm. Deer don't care. Where it's going to matter is turkeys are not colorblind, and they have way better vision than deer. They say turkey is the smartest, dumbest animal you'll ever find, and I can contest to that because they've gotten the better of me. But you don't have to spend high dollars amount of money on clothing, camouflage, calls. My calls, my stand, my stuff is all relatively inexpensive, and it's worked very, very well for me. So that's we'll break stuff down later on as far as what you should carry with you, but don't go overboard. Don't spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on expensive stuff, because the inexpensive stuff works just as good as the expensive stuff. So after that, then, of course, you want to pick out, decide on what you're going to hunt. I'm, the majority of the time, a whitetail hunter. That's what we have here in eastern Nebraska. So, have a lot of turkey, but decide on what you're going to hunt. Get the appropriate tag, appropriate season. Make sure you know which district, if you're hunting big game, which district you're supposed to be in, because they will find you if you get caught by the game warden and you have the wrong tag for the district you're hunting in. You'll most likely get a fine, and they very well could confiscate your animal, and you don't want that. So just make sure you're in the right area where you're supposed to be. Get on, like Nebraska, when you go to purchase your tag, there's a map that tells you of the state of Nebraska, and it tells you which area, it breaks it down very, very well. So it's, just make sure you're doing that. So say you get an animal, make sure you got a local butcher, and check their hours. If you're not going to process it yourself, make sure you check for hours of your local, butcher shop where you want to take it, because that you got to get that meat, hung up 90% of the time. Make sure you field dress your animal before you take it in there. Otherwise, you could very well piss your butcher off. Don't do that. I've been in that situation where I've been dropping a deer off, and somebody brings an animal in that hasn't gutted, and if he's got to gut it, you could get your butt chewed. Story for a different time. But anyways, and also another thing is they do a lot of telecheck anymore for checking in animals, but during rifle season, especially here in Nebraska, you still have to go check it in. So make sure you know where your check-in station is before you drop it off at your butcher. But then after you do that, make sure you have a butcher. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple stuff. So yeah, we'll get into gear later on here, next few episodes, and then we'll do one on weaponry, and then we'll get back down to where I hunt, and I'll show you how to pick a trail, and we'll do a little more guiding, since it's getting, it's middle of July now. Here in about a month, we'll get out there and we'll start following trails, and because they'll start shedding here in the 1st September, and we'll look at rubs and stuff like that, and I'll show you guys what to look for, and then we'll check some game. I got to get my game cams back out. We'll check cams. But anyways, thanks for watching. More episodes to come. Hey guys, little follow-up here. There were some things I forgot to mention earlier in the video, so I'm going to talk about it now. First thing is once you've decided what you want to hunt, what you want to, you go through hunter safety course, then you decide, okay, what animal am I going to hunt, and what am I going to hunt it with, whether it be crossbow, bow, firearm, shotgun, muzzleloader, etc. Biggest thing is practice. Practice. During the off season, if or any free moment you have available, it might be a little bit easier with a bow or a crossbow to be able to sneak out someplace and go shoot, as opposed to you'd have to wait for like a gun range or something to open. But just practice. The old adage, practice makes perfect. You got to get out there. You're not going to get any better unless you practice. Look at football players. Look how many times a day they practice. Any activity out there, you got to practice. You got to get comfortable with your weapon. If you're not comfortable with your weapon, then that's when bad things happen. Practice. Just do what you can. You don't have to do it every single day, but just do it as much as possible. Here's a good example. If all you're going to do is bird hunt, pheasant, duck, geese, etc., join a trap shooting league. That's they meet once a week and you can shoot. That's perfect practice right there. Shoot, or just go to a gun range like that, or a gun club, and shoot blue rock. They're always open. So that's a prime example there. So just practice as much as you can. That's you can't get better. You're not. You can only get worse if you don't. You you don't get better without practice. So here's the single most important thing about hunting. You can spend as much time out in the timber as you want, practicing as much as you want, but when it comes down to game day, whatever season you're hunting, you got to have patience. Plain and simple. Without patience, you can't go out there and expect, here's a prime example. This guy behind me, the day I got him, yes, I was only in the stand 30 minutes. That doesn't happen every time. I've hunted 20 plus years to wait for him. I've gotten, yes, lots of nice bucks, but patience and perseverance is what it takes. There has been numerous occasions where I sit in a stand for the whole season, morning and night, and not see a thing. It's happened on more than one occasion. Or another example is one year I got down to my timber, mid-afternoon, 2:30, and I get out of my truck and out pops a buck bigger than old Cletus here. He was wider, and he was probably a 6x6. Buck fever got me. I short stroked my chamber, and I didn't put a round in my chamber. I didn't know that until a little bit later, when he was following a doe through the timber, and I had him in my sights, and I pulled the trigger and it clicked. My heart sank. Patience. If I'd have just taken my time, done everything right, and he, if I'd have known he eventually was going to come, always act like, he's going to be there. I could have seriously gotten hurt. At first I thought when that went off, or when nothing happened, was that I had a misfired round and my gun was going to explode in my lap. So what did I do? I had to open my gun right there. He heard it, the doe heard it, and the two little bucks that were there too heard me open my bolt, and they all turned and pretty much looked straight up at me. There's nothing I can do about it. I blew it. It happens. Just be patient. Good things will come. So, two things: practice and be patient. It'll all be okay. Thanks, guys.